This is Amanda. I'm coming from Australia. We've experienced wide-ranging floods in Australia in December, January, and a cyclone in February, extending from far north of Australia and Queensland down to the southernmost part of Australia in Victoria. Bushfires in Western Australia and a cyclone. So Australia has just suffered the largest floods, natural disasters, and it's just incredible. I just want to show you some pictures here, just so you can have a look at some of the. This is just huge. It's so hard to capture the extent of the flooding. On one hand, it's actually beneficial for all of our water systems. Great for our habitats. It's been a long time since there's been a long, big, wet. But there's something else. Because of the extent of it, people all over the world, they know that there's been an area the size of France and Germany combined that was underwater, and it continued to flood. We've experienced, in some areas, 7-metre walls of water, flash floods, where the rivers have raised 13 metres above their normal levels. 37 people lost their lives. Our hearts go to their loved ones and to the 2 still missing. It's such an unprecedented event that's been going on here. It's caused a lot of people to ask some questions about our water resources. We've been in drought for over 10 years. We have water restrictions. We've been sold a big scarcity story. And a lot of these questions that are being asked are about weather manipulation, weather modification, geoengineering, etc. Has somebody, government, military, who knows who, been using these technologies that are out there to alter the weather? Can it cause floods? Does it have anything to do with rain or our water resources? Weather modification, that is. Well, let's just take a look at whether there is such a thing as weather modification, the capabilities. Does it operate in Queensland? We'll just focus on that. And if it does, who? What they do, what have they done? What have they done? I've been researching these issues, and this is what Google and other sources have brought to my attention. And I'd really like to share them with you, especially if you've never heard of the idea of weather modification. Here is a website, Weather Modification Association. Now, what they are about, what they provide as a service, is they give organisations informed information so that the decisions can be made about the application of weather modification technologies to provide for adequate water supplies. Now, that tells me that there is a hand in creating water supply. Not only that, it also states here, and reduced natural weather hazards. So they have a lot of technology that we don't know about. It's available to them through science and whatever, but not to our knowledge. And here down further, it shows that this mob has been around since 1950. Okay, and it describes what it does and what service it provides as weather modification. Now, weather modification, it says, can be both planned, as in the case of cloud seeding, cloud modification that is, or inadvertent, for example, when pollution affects visibility. So they can actually get rid of pollution. Interesting. It also goes on to say planned, deliberate. Weather modification is also commonly known as cloud seeding, modification, and atmospheric water management. So maybe our droughts were where they held the water off our soils and out of our natural right to water. Here it says that their inquiries come from domestic and foreign government agencies, so poses some questions. Now, there's also another one that I came across, and this one here is called Weather Modification Incorporated. So it's a company as well, and you know, they're just doing what they need to do. And again, they say that they are about water resource management and environmental quality monitoring. And here we go, cloud seeding, weather radar systems, environmental weather monitoring, and they do something called aerosols, a small solid liquid particle dispersed in air. Okay, that is what cloud seeding is. Here's one of the craft that is used, and I'll just show you some of the craft. Okay, there, pretty interesting, all fitted out to do the cloud seeding. Okay, so this is a really interesting site to go over. We're pretty proud of it. So what these two companies do is they go into an area and see whether what requirements what the requirements are for creating the rain or whatever it is that the order is. It's like dial-up, made to order weather, really. That's what I can see. The reason why I'm bringing this one up is because under here we've got some of the projects that have been done. Now I'm going to tie it into Australia because look here, Queensland Environmental Protection Agency, it was employed to do a job in 2008. Now this I will lead into another place where we can see where it's demonstrated they were part of it. Okay, now their services provide for Australia instrumented aircraft and crew for cloud seeding in a feasibility study in 2008 for the augmentation of rain. So there we go. Now, who was it that employed them? Yes, it's the Queensland Environmental Protection Agency, but one of the things I came across last year was that there was a Southeast Queensland cloud seeding research program run in 2007 and 8, 2008 and 9. And one of the things that proves that is that there was an article, and I'll come back to that in just a second, dated 25th January 2008. Now, what this website is saying, what the overview says, is water shortages occurred in the southeast Queensland region due to several years of reduced rainfall and an increasing population. As a response, the Queensland Government invested resources into studying the feasibility of precipitation enhancement via cloud seeding. Okay, so it's all about finding out all measurements for the atmosphere, etc., determining the optimal seeding method. Okay, so that's interesting in itself. The one thing that I noticed here that is, look, there's some pictures of the aircraft that's fitted out, and look here, we've got some really massive equipment being used, and I thought, wow, these guys are really fitted out. And I realised that network of weather radar, and this is around the Brisbane area, of course, in Australia, and their aircraft, all pretty excited about what they do, all fitted out there, and you can come visit this at any time. And I realised that this is actually a big project, and I wanted to point out to you that there's a body here called NCAR, and there's one called UCAR. NCAR is the National Centre for Atmospheric Research, and it's, I think, based in the US. That's right. And then there's RAL, and it's all about hydrology, all about water in the air, etc. And I want to show you this part here. So who was involved in this cloud seeding research? Queensland Climate Change Centre of Excellence, Department of Natural Resources and Water, Queensland Government's Environmental Protection Agency, Here we go, Bureau of Meteorology, which is our weather department in Australia, paid for by the Australian taxpayers. They're involved in this, and the Centre of Australian Weather and Climate Research, Monash University, CSIRO, University of Queensland, South African Weather Service, National Centre for Atmospheric Research, yeah, it's in Colorado, MIPD and WMI. WMI is Weather Modification Incorporated, and MIPD is a privately owned Queensland company based primarily in Brisbane, committed to providing operational services, research, educational, atmospheric and related sciences. They provide to offer a turnkey solution for cloud seeding operations and atmospheric research in Australia. All right, it's all about finding out what they need to do to create to implement a full-scale cloud physics seeding program, making water management. That's what they're about, and their purpose here is to this is great. After a period of research evaluation, rainfall enhancement can be achieved by identifying and cloud seeding clouds whose rain producing process can be improved. This would ideally be done over regions where the water could most benefit society by falling on crops or within dam catchment areas. Well, I know that the waters fell on crops, damaged the crops, and I also know that the water fell in the dam catchment areas until all the dams were spilling. The staff are ex-Royal Australian Air Force personnel, current and former government consultants, science meteorologists, etc., etc. This is a really big deal. There's a lot going on. And this here, MIPD, it was reported in this report, the managing director of MPID, so they were directly involved. It's not just making up assumptions. That's right. I wanted to point out to you another company that has connections with Malcolm Turnbull. I think it was his nephew who started this one up. Okay, and we've got buybacks, water pressure, all sorts of things. But anyway, water use has been growing at more than twice the rate of population increase in the last century. And what they do is use technology. Here we go. It's known as the Atlant, which aims to supplement existing water resources by tapping into the most underutilised resource of fresh water, a third of the world's supply, which is in the atmosphere. Okay, so there's one more. And I also wanted to point out to you that South East Queensland Water is a corporation. It is private. It is not government owned. It is not owned by the people. So all of the things we've seen here, except for the banner of Queensland government, which is in here, they're all private. So we taxpayers are paying for this big deal, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Just to show you a little bit further, CSIRO, for those who know us, here we go, guidelines for utilising of cloud seeding as a tool for water management in Australia. I've seen documents that date back to 1946 where cloud seeding has been done. And here's the Bureau of Meteorology, Australian Cloud Seeding Research Symposium. That was back in 2007. So it's been going on for quite some time. I'm just about going to have to leave it here, but I wanted to just show you a little bit more. Okay, here we go. Here's a document from UCAR, which I pointed out, which is University Corporation, the UCAR, and I pointed out in UCAR before that I've got to zoom here. Weather Modification Programs, Australia, Precipitation Enhancement. There we go. So we're part of a global organisation organised to bring rain